Greetings, champions. Jason Paradise here, bringing you another match from our recent August Online playoff from the road to Paris. This is Nillicomes taking on Karstou33 for a chance at the finals and a potential trip to Paris for the 2013 DOC World Championship. This is a very strange matchup in that Nillicomes is bringing a strategy to the table that we normally do not see in competitive play. Nillicomes playing as Acamas Stronghold versus Karstou33's Seria Necro deck. So this is right off the bat going to be a little bit of a different cast than we are normally used to. We see a lot of Necro currently in competitive play. We see a lot of Inferno. Stronghold not as much, and if we see it, it's normally something like a Kelthor. But Acamas is something that is a little bit more rare. And off the bat we can see it is definitely a very rush-heavy deck, as we're only 3 turns in, and he has already got 3 creatures on the battlefield and 4 damage onto Seria. So this Acamas deck going to be very focused on getting creatures out and dealing damage as quickly as possible. We see things like Surprise Attack and Campfire for fortunes. Acamas only has Earth Magic available to him and does not start with any points in Magic, so I doubt that we'll see any spells being played, because if we're doing a rush-centric deck, Earth spells, things like Insect Swarm, not going to be as effective because it would clear your side of the board as well. On the other side of things, Karstou33 with his Seria deck, opting to move up that Lamassu, prevent damage, going to use Revised Tactics as well. He's going to adjust. Being this first game, Revised Tactics is such a great card to bring to a match like this. When you don't know what your opponent's going to have, Revised Tactics allows you to take 3 cards from your deck, banish them, so that you'll be getting better pulls. Some people have asked me before, why is Revised Tactics a good card? Why on earth would you want to banish 3 cards from your deck? This is to adjust. You can bring the cards with you you might need, and then get rid of them, throw them off the board. You will have no chance of pulling those cards and getting a bad draw. You are easily able to top deck something you will be able to use instead of grabbing something that isn't going to be of any use to you whatsoever. Out comes a Shredder on Nillicomes' side. Such a useful unit, being able to pound that ghoul in the face, throw him into Seria's graveyard. And right now Acamas has complete control of the board. Karstou33 was not likely to have expected this. Nillicomes plays a lot of things like Sandalphon normally, and this is completely out of left field and really hard to prepare for, because Acamas, I mean, we even did a recent Jackpot Challenge, which is an event we hold every week on the forums, to kind of play around with strategies you don't normally see. We did a challenge with him to see who could play him the best, because a lot of people feel he's a useless hero, which is being proven to be right now not the case, as Nilly is bringing him into an incredibly important match. The winner of this match advances on to the finals and has a chance at getting a free trip to Paris and potentially a chance to win the 2013 World Championship. A lot on the line, so to see an Acamas rushing out into this high-level play, actually kind of breathtaking in a way, especially being up 6 health points this early in the match. As we can see from the next draw as well, Nilly has this deck overloaded with creatures. There are mainly, it looks to be, 4 drops and lower. I'd be surprised if we had anything bigger than that in this deck, as we see vultures in there and also tainted orcs. Very beefy creatures again for Stronghold. Stronghold's a very strong, heavy creature-centric deck type. And we can see how aggressive this Acamas play is. Nilly moving those creatures, doesn't even care about the Lich there that could hit him for damage. He wants to have 3 strong lanes. Now, we did see a point go into Might from Seria here, which means no Broken Bridge coming out this turn. That would be something that would be really useful in a scenario like this, going up to 3 Fortune and putting down a Broken Bridge. A Broken Bridge is a Fortune card that takes a row of creatures and puts it back into the owner's hand. That could prevent a lot of damage to him this next turn, but that is not an option we will see. Instead, a Banshee comes out, uses all 6 resource points to take out that Vulture. Banshee, when it comes into play, can destroy any creature on the opposing side. So that Vulture now in Nillicomes' graveyard. And again, Karstou is more concerned about blocking off damage than getting damage onto Acamas. And he's going to have to start doing something to Acamas soon. Very, very defensive play from our Necropolis player, as he again gets punched in the face by a Shredder. 2 more damage. Surprise attack comes out, and the entire field is Nillicomes right now. Nillicomes has absolute complete control. Again, just opens a path right to himself, says, hey, attack me if you dare. You can do 2 damage to me, but I have 6 creatures on the field ready to eat you alive next turn. If you do so, let me. So a Lamassu coming out, and again, Seria forced to move the Lich up to the top row to prevent damage. So much potential death on the field for Seria. There is just an absolute... I mean, there's nothing that he can do damage-wise. He can't deal damage to the Acamas player right now because he has so much overwhelming pressure on him. Because 6 creatures on the field, and he doesn't have spells, it looks like. He only has 1 point magic, that is from earlier, you know, with Seria starting with 1 magic point, which means no geysers coming, no strength of the sea to beef up his creatures for more damage. 7 total creatures out on the field. Nillicomes does not mind overcommitting. 8 creatures now, an entire field of creatures. There, an army of Stronghold minions rushing down this Necropolis deck. Unreal to see so much aggression coming out. And with an Acamas deck, it looks like that's exactly how you have to play it. But it doesn't feel like Karstou was expecting this whatsoever. Such defensive play from him. What can he do to come back, take 20 life away from Acamas, and take game 1 in a stunning comeback? What can he do? Seria's Legion is going to be his answer as he puts that 4th point into Fortunes, into his destiny. He is going to pull out Banshees and start trying to clear out some of this massive Stronghold army. Banshee goes down in that 2nd row, and he is going to take a Tainted Orc and throw it into the graveyard. And little by little, he's trying to clear out this massive, meaty Stronghold death in front of him. Lamassu is going to attack, does a little bit of damage before it is inevitably going to die next turn to that archer that is staring it down from across the battlefield. 6 life is all that remains on this Seria player for this game 1. Is there anything he can do to come back? I mean, he doesn't have the spells, it looks like, although a Bard's coming out, which means he does most likely have a Tropos coming into his hand, so perhaps he's going to be able to revive some more Banshees and clear out the board that way. But no mass removal spells could be the death of our Necro player. It looks like we do see a buff coming out on these players from using the Week of the Mercenaries. There is a POW Deathseeker on the top of this, which means there is an extra point of damage going to those creatures. GG, as Nillicomes is taking game 1. Stunning 20-0 victory. That was pretty darn convincing. Karstou is starting out game 2 with his revised tactics, which means, okay, I'm going to have to adjust. I'm going to have to play this a little bit differently than I did last game to have any sort of chance. But look at Nillicomes' hand already. He has 2 gold piles and a campfire. This is a perfect rushing hand. Instant 3 drops on the first turn. That's an incredible rushing strat right there. We see another gold pile still in his hand, and already 2nd turn 2-3 drops out on the field. This is a good start for Nillicomes. He's in a good position. But Karstou, to be fair, is already doing better than he did last game by taking 2 damage with that Moonsilk Skeleton on this turn. Nillicomes has no problem with just using all the fortunes in his hand and rushing. Already down to 14 life. This is a very fast-paced game, too. Both players playing everything they've got in their hand and ending turn immediately. And there's still a POW Deathseeker waiting to be played, and a Shredder in Nillicomes' hand. Both of those creatures have quick attack. As soon as they come into play, they can attack, and there is an open line to Seria, which means we'll probably see one of those played this next turn for more instant damage, as Karstou is out of resource points and has no way to block in that second line. This Acamas deck is so fast. So much damage. A Week of the Mercenaries being played. That is another point of damage because there is a creature. So many creatures in this deck. Week of the Mercenaries, if you have a creature coming next to you, you do have an extra point of damage to all of your creatures on the field. Unreal. How fast is this? This is only, what, 2 minutes into this game? And Nillicomes is staring victory in the eyes, looking to go up 2-0. In this best-of-5 series, if he goes up 2-0, is there any way Karstou can come back and win 3 games straight? This Stronghold deck is strong. Very fast. That's the name of the game right here. Karstou does have an extra point into Magic for the first time, which means maybe he's finally going to start pulling out some geysers or some sort of removal capability. But how? He only has one Moonsilk skeleton out on the field. Is he going to try to block with it just like he did so valiantly, I guess you could say, in Game 1? It didn't really do much for him, though. He tried so hard to block off all that damage, and still, that Shredder just moved around the field Game 1 and made sure to keep putting the pressure on him. Took 2 damage each turn, 2 damage, until he was dead. This turn, however, it could be the game. Week of the Mercenaries being played. There's another possible 4 damage if he decides to play the POW Deathseeker onto the Necropolis player. And he is going to be able to potentially play another 2 creatures as well if he wants to drop the 2-drop and use the Vulture. We'll see if that's what he decides to do, if he wants to just overwhelm this board. It is the course of action he's going to take. 6 total creatures out on the field, whereas Karstou, on the other hand, is like, I only have 6 resources. What am I going to do? 6 creatures, 6 resources. I don't feel this is a fair trade at all. Geyser does come out. That's going to remove at least a little of the problem. We do see 2 of those coming out. So suddenly, it doesn't look that bad. Unfortunately, though, we see Week of the Mercenaries there, which means... Oh, wow, there wasn't a creature on the top, so POW, it means there's going to be 1 health left. Wow. Very lucky for Karstou there, as that he did not, Nillicomes did not have a creature on the top of his deck to give him the bonus buff from Week of the Mercenaries. So we are down to only 1 point of health left on Karstou, and that's not going to mean much because there is a Shredder in Nillicomes' hand. GG for Game 2. This is all Nillicomes right now. Acamas cremating our Seria Necropolis player. Karstou33 is climbing uphill. Can he come back and make this a series, or will Nillicomes sweep this series, this best-of-5, 3-0, and progress on to the finals and a chance at Paris? So much riding on the line. The winner in Paris is going to take home a Razer Plate gaming laptop and so much more. So many cool things on the line. That is coming at the end of October, so stay tuned to find out who is going to become our 2013 Duel of Champions World Champion. Nillicomes wants to be that person. He wants to take Karstou33 down and have a chance at going to Paris and winning everything. But right now, Acamas has Seria in the way, and he needs to think one thing at a time, one hurdle at a time. And he does not have as strong of a hand, I feel, as he did in the last game. This could be a longer game because he only has a couple 2-drops in his hand. He does have that Dark Assassin, though, and that's going to take an instant 4 damage. And that's a pretty decent start, I suppose, for Nillicomes. What is our Necropolis player planning right here? Because, Decay Spitter. That's going to at least take down that Dark Assassin. No more 4 damage. And he is going to move down the Moonsilk Skeleton. He wants to be able to block while still having a chance to do some damage. something he hasn't been able to do in the first 2 games of the series. Shredder's going to come out, and he is not going to worry about taking the damage on Seria. He's going to instead worry about clearing this board and maintaining possession of as many lanes as possible. He does move the Shredder, I should say not the Shredder, the Vulture into the top lane. Doesn't mind that the Decay Spitter has full access to Acamas, which it looks like he might attack with, or is he going to move and protect? He is going to take 2 damage. Something we haven't seen Seria doing the first 2 games is taking damage when he can. When Karstou can. So, again though, the Vulture and the Shredder both able to attack, taking Karstou down to 11 life. 11 life is all that remains on this thread of a chance that Karstou has of remaining in the tournament. Gold pile comes out, which is going to give an extra resource. And we will see, I'm assuming, a flood on the board of creatures, as he does have 3 2-drops in his hand. That can all be played this turn. Instead, he looks like he's going to opt for his Oliphant, a 2-drop and a 1-drop instead, as 3 creatures come out, overwhelming the board again. We do see 6 total creatures out there, protecting damage, a broken bridge. There's what we were talking about in game 1. Clearing out some of those creatures, slowing this rush down. Broken Bridge so good at being able to prevent. There is actually a Hangman tree as well. Suddenly, Karstou showing some life. Says, hey, I am not out of this yet. Your Stronghold deck definitely is strong, but Necropolis is king and I can prevail. Unfortunately, though, Nillicomes still looks like he has a good plan of attack. Sacrificial Altar coming out, going to destroy the Oliphant in return to take out the Decay Spitter and maintain control of this board. 2 Vultures coming out. Those Vultures, so strong because every creature that dies in a turn makes it cost 1 less resource to play. Being that it isn't exactly a cheap card to play normally. I mean, 4 resource, being able to play that for less and less, playing 2 of those, 2 basically 4-drop cards, when you only have 6 resources, because creatures are dying, tends to lead to a very strong board position in a spot like what Nillicomes just put himself into. Karstou is only about, what, 4 life points behind at this point in the game. So he does have a chance at taking this game and making this 2-1. Nillicomes, on the other hand is pretty decent for what he's looking for. He doesn't have too many tricks up his sleeve. The longer the game goes on, the rush becomes less and less powerful, right? As the game goes on, our Necropolis player is favored more. This Stronghold deck is all about rushing the opponent down fast before they have a chance to establish themselves on their feet. And look at the deck advantage right now, basically in the favor of Seria. If she has things like Geysers in her hand, I mean, she has the 2 magic, so 1 point of magic could come and Geysers could come out and help to clear this board out a little, and maintain a little bit more possession of the board, you could say. It's looking like things might swing back in the favor of our Necropolis player if the right cards are in his hand currently. As the resources are gaining, though, Seria could swing this back into her favor. It all comes down to how Karstou decides to play this turn. He's thinking about it. Decay Spitter, is he going to be attacking that Vulture? It does have Infect, so he could put a poison counter. No, he's going to move it up. The Lich, what's the move going to be here? Could he move it down for blocking? Is that what he's going to be doing? Or does he want to? He is going to move it up instead with that Vampire Knight. Interesting moves as he's leaving those 2 bottom rows open. He has to have a plan. 8 resources left. What are the 5 cards in his hand? An Archlich comes out. So half of that spent to put down the Archlich, which does have lifesteal, so even if it does get attacked, it can bring that life back. Karstou knows that Nillicomes doesn't have mass removal because, again, Acamas only has earth spells. He hasn't put a point of into magic this entire series so far. Does draw a card, down to 3 resources. Vampire Knight's going to come out. I'm assuming this is going to go in the bottom row. But we'll see where he decides to put this. I'm assuming bottom row, though, because he needs to block off that damage. Otherwise, that's going to be another 4 damage coming from those 2 creatures on the Acamas side of the board. There it is, back row of this bottom lane. And Nillicomes, how is he going to respond to this? Campfire is going to be used. Has a POW, 2 broken bridges, and a sacrificial altar in his hand. That's a lot of potential damage that could be done, considering he could open up a lane with the sacrificial altar by using the Oliphant as a sacrifice, and then using a POW as well to clear away for a little bit of damage. Is that going to be what he does? He does use that Oliphant as basically a time bomb almost to clear out that knight, that vampire knight at the bottom, and use 4 damage from that row of creatures on the bottom to kind of even things back in his favor. Broken Bridge going to come out on that top row. All of the favor has been swung back to Nillicomes' side as Nilly is staring victory in the face. This, oh, another Broken Bridge there, and that's actually really tough because those 2 vultures are now again 4-drops. Unless Nilly is able to do significant damage and kill some creatures on this turn. Oh, there's one right there. That brings them both back down to only 3 resource cost. If he wants to put those back out, he can. POW Deathseeker is going to come out, and he's going to use that to take down the Archlich instead of putting that damage onto Seria. He did not have an open lane to use that. This is the first time in the game where he's had to kind of play a little bit defensive. He isn't able to all-out rush Seria down because the game is going so much longer. This is going to be really strategic for how Nillicomes finishes this game out. Is he going to be able to close this series out in advance? Or is Karstou starting his epic comeback? Only 7 life remains for Seria, I should say. And he is slowly starting to throw damage down onto the Acamas player. Banshee coming out. This is crucial because that's going to eliminate one of those vultures. And look at the cards. Seria does have 4 cards in her hand. Nillicomes only has 4 cards in his hand. He is going to use one of his resources to pull out another option from his deck. And his deck's starting to whittle down. He is going to use the Fortune card to clear out a lane and put a little bit of damage down onto our Necropolis player as well, who is down to only 4 life, hanging on just barely, being thrown off of a broken bridge himself right now as he is so close to defeat. And more creatures coming down. Is there any way, is there any card that Seria can pull from her deck right now to hold on? Geyser coming out. That is going to clear out that top of the board as the Vampire Knight going to kill the Harpy as well. Suddenly, again, this pendulum of momentum swinging back and forth from player to player as Karstou is now again in control. Unfortunately for him, however, we know Nillicomes plays with the Shredders that have quick attack. We know, oh, a broken bridge. The entire board is on to Karstou. Oh my god, the entire board is in complete control of Karstou. This is unfortunate for Nilly. How does he turn this around? What is the course of action here? He could put out that broken bridge and use the Shredder to put 3 damage down because he did just use Week of the Mercenaries. Is that going to be the course of action? This is risky as can be. He is going to do this. 3 damage, which means 1 life is all that separates Nillicomes from a 3-0 victory. Using that Shredder, he is going to move that up to prevent a little bit of damage. If he top decks a POW and has an open lane, this is GG. But Nilly could have a little bit of a problem on his hand if he does not have a way to clear a lane and Karstou floods the board. Nilly needs a little bit of love from his deck to be able to stay in this. Only 5 life left on Acamas as well. Banshee coming out. The Shredder's dead. Oh, wow. This is going to be a heartbreaker for Nillicomes if he is not able to secure this. What is he going to pull? A sacrificial altar. And, oh, my God. What a pull from the campfire. This is going to be the game right here. A sacrificial altar can clear any of those out, and the Shredder will win him the game if he does decide to go that route. Sacrificial altar is going to come out. He's going to clear lane. Shredder is coming out. GG. This is the victory right here for Nillicomes, who advances to the finals with a 3-0 victory over Karstou33. Incredible play, as Nillicomes is now 1 win away from going to Paris. Stay tuned for more action from the Road to Paris 2013, and we will see you back here on our YouTube very soon. Subscribe for more content. This is Jason Paradise signing off. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.